There is no substitute for a well-written illustrated log of a cruise or travelogue. I have now done quite a few logs, and the techniques have evolved over the years. It is time-consuming to do, but it can be fun and provides a record that becomes increasingly valuable as you get older. I undertook to produce some articles on this subject, but decided that some matters were best dealt with by video tutorial, hence this series. So here we are in part 2. As we approach the Bay of Islands, the track is veering away to the west, so it is necessary to scroll left as well as down. I also decided to add area of blank sea to the east as well, as this would make the final cropping easier. The set of tiles we need has now been created. Having got to a blank screen in Affinity Photo, we select New Panorama from the File menu. Then we select Add, go to the working directory and select the 11 tiles, and there they are. All that needs to be done is to select Stitch Panorama. After a few seconds, a miniature of the stitched panorama appears in the right-hand column. Usually, all is well. If there are problems, they can be fixed, but that is application specific, so you will have to find out how to do that for yourself. In this case, all I need to do is to click Render Panorama. Affinity now works out which bits to include. I was amazed to find that it worked out that the bars at the top and the bottom of each tile should be discarded. Very clever. It is worth having a quick scan of the panorama before clicking Apply to deliver the finished panorama. Now save it as a working document in the photo application software, i.e. as a .af photo file when using Affinity. Photoshop and other software will have their own native formats. OK, when we look at the stitched panorama, there are some obvious problems. Firstly, the track is not complete. Second, the colouring is rather bland and the track does not stand out. Third, there is a colour change halfway up, which is probably due to the tiling within the CMap cartridges. If you have a photo processor where you can select and recolour areas, then the third problem is very easy to fix. Skip this segment if you do not have the selecting and recolouring capability. So let's do the recolouring first. This is Affinity specific and the exact procedures will vary depending on your software. I zoomed in so the dark blue area was large on the screen, then I chose the selection brush and made sure the mode was set to Add and Snap to Edges is chosen. Oops, almost forgot to duplicate the working layer. Most of the area is quickly selected, but there is a small part near Whangarei where I zoomed in and reduce the brush size. Next, I added an HSL layer, which stands for Hue, Saturation and Lightness. A couple of quick tweaks in the hue slider and we have a match. Job done. Deselect. At this point, I have consolidated all done so far into a layer labelled Recolored. Now change to the pan tool. Now we tackle the track line. To do this, we need software that produces a coloured line. Needless to say, affinity is equal to the task. We select the pen tool and set the stroke colour to a bright yellow by moving the HSL sliders. I also like the Smart Pen tool. All you have to do is add points where you want them, and affinity works out the best curve. So, off we go. Oops, I forgot to set the line width. I've chosen 5 pixels. We start from the Tamaki River near Auckland, but I did not switch on the plotter for a couple of hours, so the first few points have to be added from memory, with a little help from the chart feature. Eventually, we link up with the actual track which we can follow. It takes a little practice, but as you can see, it is quite quick. Now we are approaching attack, where the course change is sudden. The Smart pen cannot manage this, so we need to change to the Bezier pen. This is the professional bit of kit and takes even more practice to master, but it is very powerful. When you reach a vertex point, you hold the Alt key and the curve inserts the sharp point. For some reason, the chart plotter was switched off for a while, so once again we are drawing freehand. Once it gets easier, we can revert to the Smart pen. Back to the Bezier pen, and it goes on to the end of the Bay of Islands. First, we switch to the Node tool and go back down the path, tweaking our new curve to improve it. This is boring, so I will fade out and return when it is done. Now we zoom out again, and it is still not bright enough. Perhaps we should change the colour. Well, it's better, but blue on blue is risky. So let's undo that and try changing the line width. That is much better. If you prefer it, you could change to a dotted line, but I will undo that as well. Rename this layer Track. Now we merge the visible layers into a new layer called Labeled. At this point, we will stop and meet again in part 3.